Chapter 1.7, Multiplying Rational Numbers. Now, today we're going to be multiplying fractions, and we're going to be multiplying decimals. Now, the book is going to show you one way to do it, and that's going to be using a combination of what we call the associative property and the commutative property. And the book is also going to skip some steps. It's going to assume that you already know how to multiply fractions, but I'm going to go through actually solving it step by step using the example, and I'm actually not going to use the associative and commutative properties today. I find that for these examples they're actually a little bit more confusing since we're dealing with fractions. So I'm just going to solve these like normal. Now, reminder that when you see two numbers inside parentheses directly next to each other, that means that you multiply. Okay, so let's jump into example 1 and get started. So I have 4 3/4 times 2 1/2. Now, when multiplying fractions, I cannot multiply fractions without turning them into improper fractions. Okay, you have to do that step first or the problem will not come out correctly. So 4 times 4 is 16, 16 plus 3 is 19, so I have 19/4 times 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5 plus 5/2. Now, if I could, I would cross cancel these. Unfortunately, 19 and 2 have no common factors, and neither do 4 and 5, so instead I'm going to multiply straight across. So 19 times 5 equals 95, and 4 times 2 equals 8. Now, we must always leave these in simplest form. 95/8 is not simplest form, so I'm going to come over here and start to divide. 8 goes into 9 once, bring down the 5, goes in once again, 15 minus 8 is 7. So my simplest form will be 11 7/8. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so that is my final answer. So the key is to make sure that you can turn your mixed numbers into improper fractions. Cross cancel if you can, just makes life a little bit cleaner, and if you can't, you just gotta do the multiplication, and don't forget to simplify, always. Okay, that will make me very happy. Okay, examples 2 and 3 are both working with decimals. So, as a review, when working with decimals, we ignore the decimal sign. So if I have negative 3.2 times negative 4.1, for now I'm going to ignore the decimals and I'm going to ignore the negative signs and I'm just going to multiply. So 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 3 is 3. I'm multiplying by a whole, so put that 0 in there. 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12. I'm going to add those up. 2, 11, 3, 1. Okay, so 13/12 is what I have, but I see that I have 2 places to the right of my decimal in my problem, so I need to move my decimal 2 places to the right in my answer. Both of my problems, or factors, are negative, and a negative times a negative is a positive, so your final answer is positive 13 12/100. Okay, even though we're working with decimals, and even though later you may be working with fractions, the rules still apply as to whether you are multiplying a negative times a negative, or a positive times a positive, or a negative times a positive. So Part B, negative 6.3 times 2.2. So negative 6.3 times 2.2. Again, I'm going to ignore the negative and the decimals for now. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 6 is 12. With the 0 as the placeholder, 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 6 is 12. We're going to add that up. 6, 8, 3, 1. Again, I have 2 places behind the decimal, so I need 2 places behind the decimal in my answer. I see one negative sign, the other number is positive, so my answer is going to be negative. So my answer is negative 13 86/100ths. Six, 12. Hang on, I'm thinking because the book got a different answer than I did. Oh, it's because they used a different problem. All right, well, this works then. Okay, we're going to ignore that. Oh, that was example 3. Never mind. It's early. I'm tired. All right, example 4. Free diving is an underwater activity in which the diver does not use scuba gear. When James free dives, he can descend 1.3 feet per second below sea level. 1.3 feet per second. How far below sea level can James descend? In 5 seconds. Okay. Descending. Descending means a negative. So negative 1/3 feet per second times 5 seconds. So I have a mixed number. I need to change that into an improper fraction. So negative 4/3 times 5/1. Negative 20/3. Change that back into a mixed number. So 20 divided by 3 goes in 6. 6 times 3 is 18. 2/3. So James dives 6 2/3 feet below sea level, or negative 6 2/3 feet, in 5 seconds. Okay, my answer has to be negative because he is diving. He is descending below sea level. So therefore he's going down, and that is always negative. Okay, that's it for examples today. Complete your QCs and CYUs. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them the next time I see you.